Lorenzo, you and I are very similar in many ways, and we're also very different in many ways. And there's one thing that I know you've been doing for, I don't know, I think you've been doing it for 5, 6 years now, if not more, that I don't do. And you always are shocked that I don't do it. And I actually have based on what I've seen from you, I've actually now started doing it. So I'm a baby in this space, but it's an important thing. And the thing I'm talking about is swipe files. And can you tell us what a swipe file is and how you got the idea for it and how it's helping you and how you think about managing your swipe files? Because you have lots and lots of ideas.
Yeah. Sure. So the idea is definitely not original. So it's not Lorenzo that came up with the idea. I actually stole the idea from copywriters. Surprise, surprise! I think it was either Gary Halbert or David Ogilvy that came up with that concept. So I remember 2009, 2010 when I was basically like when I discovered the concept of copywriting and started to study a bunch of copywriters. I discovered the concept of a swipe file, and what it literally is like keeping an archive of whatever type of like concepts you want. Obviously copywriters use it for ads. Back then they used them for ads, like direct response ads, or newspaper ads, or direct mail and so on. I personally keep it for CRO ideas. And when I talk about CRO ideas, I'm not even talking about that I know that the company has done that on purpose, but it's like, oh, this idea would solve a problem for a potential, brand.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, the importance of a swipe file is the speed, right? The way I use it is actually quite simple. I find a problem for a client. I open up my swipe file, and right away, I see a bunch of examples of brands that have solved the same problem that my client has, right? So because of that, the most important thing, in my opinion, about keeping a swipe file is the indexing. And what I mean by indexing is basically tagging the swipe file in the right way. So then next time, whenever you're facing a problem or you need to come up with an idea about X, you can instantly go into your swipe file and find inspiration for that. Because the worst thing you can do is keep a swipe file, and then whenever you need it, you go and spend like 5 hours in the swipe file. That's bullshit. Like, it's stupid to keep a swipe file if you then spend 5 hours to look for an idea.
And I want to just add something here for other people that don't have a swipe file, because this is the situation that I was in. And one of the reasons why people don't have a swipe file is because of sunk cost. Because they are thinking, because this is what happened to me, is that the reason I never had a swipe file was like, I have like 10 years of ideas that I've lost. And what's the point now? And actually, you need to start somewhere. And when you start, your swipe file initially is going to be very, very small, but it's going to start organically growing. So the value of a swipe file actually increases exponentially based on how much you have. So the starting part is really, really hard. And I would recommend, don't make it too complicated. This is the other thing. Sometimes people create this really complex architecture. As a starting point, you're just looking for a place where you can dump ideas. Don't worry about even organizing them. Once you have like 5 or 10 ideas and you've developed the muscle memory of, because really it's about muscle memory. It's about remembering whenever you see something interesting, to remember that one of my action items is to take a screenshot of this. Once you've built that muscle memory and you've created a repository where you can store these things, the organization part of it will naturally evolve with time based on your use case, based on the kind of images that you or things that you're swiping. So I just wanted to mention this because I started a swipe file very recently and I've realized that the value of the swipe file is going up the more I put stuff into it.
I'm going to take another point. So the third benefit of keeping in a swipe file, and I don't know if has happened to you yet, but for me, one of the biggest benefits. So Rishi, if I could pick one skill, okay, that I wish Mother Nature gave me when I was born, it would be problem solving. becoming a master at problem solving. Okay. In my opinion, that is probably like the most important skills that somebody needs to have in life, not even in business, right?
100%.
And I think keeping a swipe file helps your problem solving skills, because what happens is that now you're feeding your brain, right, with a lot of solutions that people have come up with. And we learn by seeing other people coming up with solutions. What happens is that my problem solving skills, and obviously we're talking about like CRO, marketing, and like product, and design and copy, problem solving type of skills, has improved massively since I started building my Swipefile. Because now I'm like, oh, I remember seeing that. And you know what? I'm gonna spin that idea and bring it for my client for this other thing. So I think keeping a Swipefile for problem solving is huge.
You know what? I should just add one more thing here, because can you tell us what database or software, is there a software that, because I can imagine like just dumping it in a Google Doc can become problematic very soon. Any recommendations there?
I just use Airtable, like
Okay.
simple Airtable, with a tagging system based on my own workflow and my brain as well, like the way my language as well, the way I think, I call certain things, or the challenges I've been into, right? Like, for example, a common challenge is people don't know the difference between one product and another one, right? I found on Nespresso, like on the coffee machine website, a design where, in the main navigation, in the drop down, when you clicked on the main navigation, the drop down, it was literally like one page called "What's the difference between product A and product B?" I'm like, fuck, this is genius. And I put in my Swipefile under "What's the difference?" So I think it's like the way you come up with ideas in your own language.
Correct.
Like, what's the difference? Like, doesn't mean anything to you or John, but it does mean something to me. So I think you need to personalize that based on who you are, how you work, and your language.
I have two Airtable questions. Number one is that, do you have like a browser extension so you can take a screenshot? Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
And then what about your
Airtable? It's
Go ahead.
an Airtable Clipper, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And then my other question is that, what about, I spend 90% of my time on my phone. So most of the things I encounter are on my phone. Does Airtable have like an app as well that's easy to use, or do you mostly use it on the desktop?
I use it in desktop, and then what I do is just like I look at how the idea looks like on mobile, and I record both.
Right. No, I mean, I'm on a website on my phone, and I see an idea I really like.
I don't know. I haven't checked. I'm not sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Lorenzo, for sharing these insights. I can tell you guys from my personal experience, I've started keeping a Swipefile 6 months ago, and I already am noticing a pattern emerge, and I'm noticing like it's actually helping organize my thinking as well. And so it's actually a very useful mental tool as well. And it's also makes it so much easier if you're a CEO of an e-commerce company, or if you're a marketer, it makes it so much easier to communicate with a developer, to communicate with the CEO, because otherwise you're writing 20 paragraphs to explain, wouldn't it be cool if we had this? And people still like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right?
100%.
Also, it's social proof because it means someone else has done it, and people have much more weight to something that someone else has done. Like Lorenzo talked about the Nespresso website, right? And if it's just something that he came up, mocked up, people are like, yeah, whatever, but how do I know it works? But if Nespresso's doing it.
And you answered the most popular question in CRO, which is, do you have an example of that? Right? You just go into your Swipefile and show the example of that.
I love it. This has been really useful. Guys, if you like this idea, please give us a thumbs up. We measure your votes in thumbs ups, and leave us a comment. We respond to every comment. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, because we're publishing a new video every day. See you soon. Bye.
Ciao.